engaging. I'm 44. My boyfriend's 29. I'm trying for a baby. Why have you got that as a notification? I don't know, it came from like a Sky News. Oh. I just remember, you led numbers and that.
Wow, so yeah, it's the night after, well, the day after rather, the absolute drumming at the Bet365. Complete contrast to last season when I went and it was a 1-0 smash and grab. It was full of goals, 5 goals at the end, even though the scoreline really flattered us, to be honest. And whereas in that Stoke game last season, we were tight, compact, we defended brilliantly. Last night was an absolute shambles. We've gone from me saying, you know, the last 2 games we played, Sheffield United and Leicester, probably 2 of the best performances I've seen since I've been watching Rovers for 8-9 seasons now or so. We've gone from that to Rotherham levels of performances. It was very reminiscent of Bristol at home. 2 late consolation goals, which were completely against the run of play, and makes it look like a much closer game than it was, because it was one-way traffic. Stoke absolutely deserved the win, and it would have been daylight robbery if we'd have got a point, to be honest with you. The first 10 minutes, we come out, we looked energised, we looked up for it, carrying on that momentum from the Sheffield game and the Leicester game. But then it just kind of started to die down a little bit. Next thing you know, we're playing out the back and we cause our own demise. We hand them their first goal. Dolan wasn't on the cover. And you do question if Diaz is there for the first and second goal. Does it end up differently? Do we not concede one or both of those goals if Diaz is on the pitch? And also, I think Hayam should be held accountable somewhat for both goals as well. I think he, in both scenarios, could have been positioned better to deal with the cross into the box and headed it out. He's been caught short both times, and he's tried going up for it and missed both times, and it's an easy tap-in for Hoover at the back post, which is, it's just unacceptable. And obviously, they must have studied us. They were high pressing us when we had the ball, being relentless. They weren't sitting back. And also crosses into the box. It were quite clear from, obviously, the 2 goals we conceded. Those crosses, it exposed us. And even the third one, it's, come from the left-hand side, really poor defending. Gallagher's got to be stronger there, someone of his size and stature. When he goes past you like that, just drag him down. It weren't in the penalty box. He could have prevented that goal. And even though you are giving a free kick away in such a dangerous position, you can't let your man go past you like that and not bring him down, and just give him free rein to drive into our box. Horrendous. But yeah, we just looked really sloppy last night. No one showing for the ball in midfield. It's almost like Trav and Buckley had gone back to their former selves, whereas, I'd been praising them as of late for being so brave. Just, when we went 1-0 down, it was almost like they was too scared to take the ball and do something with it. I think half-time substitutions should have been made. I think it was quite clear Diaz needed to come on for Dolan. I think it was quite clear Buckley needed to go off for Morton, and I think it was quite clear Rankin Costello needed to come off for Britton. Britton comes on and in 10 minutes makes more of an impact than Rankin Costello did the entire game. He looked fresh, he looked energised, and he just looked a complete different threat to what Rankin Costello offers. He's got that turn of pace, which Costello doesn't offer, and it just weren't Costello's night last night. He put in a brilliant block, a goal-saving block at one point, but in terms of going forwards, he didn't offer anywhere near enough. And obviously, when you're chasing a game, we need that option of Britton, whereas Rankin Costello is probably the more defensively sound option. So yeah, I think next game I would be starting Diaz and Britton, and I think Morton's obviously going to be a foregone conclusion with Buckley's injury, which hopefully wasn't too bad. But it did look pretty bad the way he was on the floor, and he looked hurt quite badly. Was someone put on Twitter with the injury update tweet Rovers have put out, he's been one of the biggest disappointments this season, and I have to agree. It's so wasteful in so many games now with the passing. I appreciate, every single one of these long range passes he does or whatnot ain't gonna come off, but even with his short passing, there was, 1 or 2 times last night where he's passing the ball 10 yards or so and it gets intercepted. He's so laissez-faire sometimes, and at this level you can't afford to be. But yeah, I mean, it was good to get a couple goals at least, try and salvage the goal difference. You know, we've got a terrible goal difference for where we are in the league, which sums our season up really. You know, we can go from, you know, beating Sheffield United 1-0, really good victory, but obviously we haven't beat a team by 3 goals since Rotherham at home. What was October, November now? Or we go away and we get absolutely smacked. You know, it were like Rotherham away levels last night. We're really poor. And again, you know, could have quite easily been 3-0 last night, but we've managed to salvage it somewhat. Brilliant cross from Britton to Diaz at the back post. Good for him to get another goal. And Gallagher, what a header. I mean, fair play to him. I just question where that's been the entire time we've had him on a permanent basis. I mean, you know, it does seem like JDT must have been working on heading with him, because he's actually starting to win headers when we punt it long to him now, which never was the case. And, you know, that is a brilliant headed goal last night, and if he can start doing that, we can, you know, maybe start to get more goals out of this man. You know, if he plays like this next season, I could quite easily see him getting 15 goals. He's really started to come into his own, so fair play to him, but he definitely does still need to work on his first touch and his passing for sure, because that is below par. But yeah, not really much to say. I mean, in terms of vlog content after the second goal, I couldn't really be bothered, if you didn't notice, with the content I've got. Even when we scored, it was just, in my mind, I wanted to go home at 3-0, to be honest with you. It was just really poor. And obviously, we're freezing. Stoke away, which is freezing anyway. Last year, I went 3 o'clock kickoff, and that is the coldest I've probably ever been. And last night weren't as bad, surprisingly, but I came more prepared than I did the time before, that's for sure. But yeah, on to Reading, the worst side from away from home in the league. You know, we've got to get a result off them after they beat us at their ground. You know, we can't allow Reading to take more than 3 points off us, surely. So I'm expecting us to bounce back. We have to bounce back if we want to be in the playoffs. You know, I weren't expecting us to, you know, win every single game from now to the end of the season. And Stoke have actually been quite good. From what a friend told me, you know, apparently since the World Cup, they've really turned things around. You know, they're actually pretty decent in the form table since the World Cup. They've obviously just come off the back of smashing Sunderland 5-1 away from home, which, you know, is a freak result. But at the end of the day, they've gone there and done it. And they're playing like a team on top. You know, they could rise up the table. I can't see them making playoffs, even though a few of the Stoke fans were singing "Up the Football League we go," which, you know, I can't believe. But I could see him very easily finishing within the, you know, 7th to 12th spots, something like that. It would take a lot for him to get to 7th, but I could quite easily see him rising up the table with the way they're playing at the minute. But, you know, it ain't going to last every single game like we found out last night. You know, we've been unbeaten in our last 13, I think it was, won our last 5, and we got to Stoke and we look absolutely awful. We look like we should be down there in the relegation spots the way we're playing. But yeah, on to Reading. We'll have a vlog for that one, so make sure to look out for that. Put your comments down below, and yeah, apologies for the lack of content really, but yeah, wasn't the best of nights from a Rovers perspective, and kind of demoralising, obviously, when you go there in high hopes. You know, we've been playing so well. It was a last minute decision to go due to how good we've been playing. You know, went straight after work, knew how cold it'd be and whatnot, and it's on Sky at end of day. And but yeah, went and was ultimately disappointed. But nothing new there from a Rovers perspective, to be honest. So yeah, on to the next one, Reading. Let's bounce back and let's get back on track for the playoffs.